Hello and welcome to Compassionate Living. This is a special segment that we're adding to the podcast for season 3, and it'll be taken over in conversation by an amazing story that Charlene, my sister, has been exploring with some lovely people from Malawi that she's gotten to know over the last 6-7 years. And before we dive into that story and she starts to take you down her voyage of discovery, I wanted to share with you that this segment is a way for us to reach out compassionately to other people, bring others to the forefront, have a way to take our skills that we have already and that may be helpful to other people, that we can easily make things easier for other people in their lives, or to be able to honor or support people, maybe inspire them. And in that vein, this episode is sponsored by Dance Debut Inc. and the Cape Breton Tea Company. And we have a very special tea blend that we've put together for this particular episode. And so if you feel moved to order the tea, it'll be in the description, but it is the cbtcompany.square.site. And the tea that we have that's going to be used as a fundraiser is called Community, and it's Mission for Change. And we hope that you enjoy this segment of the podcast this year. And I so look forward to having my sister Charlene share her story. Thank you so much for being here, Charlene. And I'll just say quickly, you're listening to Be Well with Michelle Greenwell, and this is season 3.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for having me here, and to the Cape Breton Tea Company and Dance Debut. I really appreciate you letting me share our story, and it's one that's very close to my heart, and I'm so excited that we have a tea blend to be able to share this story. And it's exciting to be able to talk about it. And the story is about a family, the Moyo family. It's a family now of 16 people in Malawi. And Malawi is, if you don't know about it, probably the poorest country in the world. And from Canada, it's hard to imagine what they experience. Compared to us, many of the families there don't have a solid home to live in. Many of the families live in a rural or agricultural land, including the Moyo family. And when I first met them, they lived in a home that they built by hand out of thatched material, so out of mud and straw or grass, with a thatched roof, mud and clay walls, and often they were packing the walls back up during the rainy season to keep it from collapsing. So just unbelievable, and that's part of the story that we'll talk about and unfold over the coming weeks or months, however long we're talking about it. I can talk about it forever. I can just go on and on. But right now, I wanted to talk, instead of going back the number of years that I've known them now, but to talk about the current situation. And most recently, in the last month and a half or so, Hurricane or Cyclone Freddy, I guess they called it, went through and devastated the Mozambique and Malawi area and in the greater area. It was a huge, massive cyclone that went through and devastated it. Quite a worldwide event that was talked about, and it devastated the area where the Moyo family lives in southern Malawi. They were out of their home. They were detached from the roads and the areas where they live, and they were without food for over a week and a half, for a family of 16. So really quite a disastrous experience. They were, as a family of 16, they live in a rundown brick structure of 2 rooms now, since their own home was destroyed by another hurricane about a year and a half ago. And they've been trying to rebuild since then, but the level of poverty that they have there, it's just an impossible task, really. So this latest cyclone set them back even further. So one of my goals is to try to help them from around the world to get back to a place where they can rebuild the brick house that they had built. They had gone from a thatched home to a hand-built brick home that had a metal roof, it had windows, it had a door, and they were really set to get their lives getting ahead. Their children were all in school. Their one son is in seminary school to be a pastor. All of their children are being educated. That's their goal, is to step up and step ahead, and to be more than what they thought they were going to be in this world, to be more than just scrambling to try and get food on the table, but to try and get ahead of being just the poorest of the poor, and to really work hard. They absolutely have always worked hard. I understand that, but they're not looking for a handout. They never ask for the handout. In my talks with them and my online chats with them and prayers with them, they never ask. It's always me saying, what can we do to help support you and to help you be what it is that you're wanting to be and do better for yourselves and your community? And how can we reach out and help you to build this to be better? And that's what I'm trying to do, is to help do something to help them to be better. And right now, what I see and what I talk to them about is really starting from the basics. Is how do we help to improve the water supply for that to be able to help them live better? How do we help them to grow their food supply better? And how do we help them to put a roof over their head? And all of those things will help them be healthier. So I think starting with brick by brick, but making those, they make clay bricks to make their brick house. We've already got the gravel. They have the land for their family land, so they have the area for the foundation already. And we've got the 8 tons of gravel in to spread for the foundation. So then there'll be cement that we'll get to spread, and then start with the bricks. So I'm looking to raise the funds to help them for the bricks, and then we'll start building again to build the bricks. We'll build it at a bit higher elevation than previous, and we'll try and get them a healthy building around them so that they can be healthier and help sustain the family better.
Wow. And there's 16 of them. So they're hoping to not build a huge house like a North American would envision. They need a couple of rooms, is what they're just trying to accomplish.
Yes. Yeah. When we talk about a home, we're not talking about multi-levels and all of these things. They're talking about having a room where the boys of the family would live. And these are boys that are some cousins who have been orphaned because their parents died, unfortunately, from illness or accident. And so the uncles and aunts have taken them in. Mom Moyo, who's the grandma, lives with and helps look after the children. And then the girls of the family live in another room. The two Peter and Stella, the married couple, said it would be nice if they were able to have a room to themselves, but if they weren't able to, they understand that. If it's that the family would only be able to have 2 rooms, one for the females, one for the males, they understand that. And it would be nice if there could be a separate storeroom, say, for all of the consumables, for if they have the dried or ground maize, and if they have the beans for storage or other supplies for the family, that would be another room in the house. So we're not talking about the excesses that we would maybe have here. There's no bathroom or washroom. There's nothing like that. They have outdoor pit toilets that they dig, and then they cover back up when it's filled, and then they dig a different one. There's we would hope that there will eventually be running water to the house. The municipality, well, it's not really a municipality, it's a village. That the village is very widespread. It's spread over several kilometers. The different villagers live quite distance apart from each other, and it's quite rural. So some of the places are starting to get water lines into them. Others aren't. It really depends on the Malawi government. So whether or not this family could get it in, and whether or not they could then afford to pay what the government there would charge them to have a water line in, is really hard to know. Otherwise, they collect water and carry it on their heads and boil it, and hopefully they're able to get enough water, especially in the dry season, for the family. So it's quite a challenging situation. So the 14 family members are extended family. It's orphans from some family members who've died of, whether it's cholera or malaria, COVID as well, now in the last couple of years. So some of them are illnesses that in the developing world, it's illnesses that people would have survived from. And unfortunately, in Malawi, it's illnesses that are life-threatening. You know, they get something like measles, or recently mumps has been quite, potentially life-threatening there, because they just don't have access to the treatments that we would have here.
Yeah.
So everything is a health risk there right now with the cyclones that have gone through. Cholera in the water, when the water is near ankle deep, is really life-threatening. Malaria is hugely life-threatening. A lot of the infants don't make it to the age of 5. Infant mortality is huge. Maternal mortality is really high. It's shockingly sad. There's a lot of times where they make a decision whether they'll try to make their food last for 2 weeks or a month, and just eat once a day instead of twice a day.
My goodness.
So it's really, really quite shocking, the choices that they make that we don't think of having to make here.
So I know this is our first episode, and so you wanted to shine a light on the family, and let our listeners and viewers know that part of transformation that we have with this podcast this year is really about how we all make a difference, but some of it's how we step up ourselves to change, and then the other is how we look to where we can help assist with change. And you've been doing that for quite a while, and I know your relationship with them is through Messenger on Facebook, and being able to converse with them the best that you can, asking the right questions. And that's what I've so appreciated about talking to you about this, is how you've been able to ask the right questions to even discover how could we help, in what way can we help, and like you said, they're not going to ask for it specifically, but for us to understand some of these challenges that we just take for granted as little things in our lives that are a nuisance. And for them, it's life or death. Yeah.
But what's interesting too, their children that are in school, the middle child, David, is so interested in science, so interested in how everything works, and interested to know about technology, and he's sure that he can change the world. He's been exposed to some science and things in school, and he knows he's interested, and he wants to make a difference in Malawi and for their people and for the rest of the world. And Stephen, I mean, their first question every time that we talk is hello, Charlene, how are you? How are things for you? Are you okay? And what can we do for you? They want to know how they can help me, and they want to know if I'm okay, and how's my family, and what's going on there. And they want to know about us. They want to know what's going on in our life, and how do things work here, and how's my mom and dad. And oh no, is someone in our family sick? Well, can they pray for us? They're concerned about us, and they want to know, there's snow. Well, are our babies okay? Like, are our children okay? How are we looking after them? How do we protect them?
Mm-hmm.
They're very concerned about how things work. Or what about bears? Are we concerned the bears are gonna, are coming near our families? How do we protect from that? How do we make sure that we can get to our doctors and hospitals? They're very curious and interested in things. They want to, if I tell them about something that's going on here, or something that we use here, they want to see a picture of it. They want an explanation of, well, how does that work? Practically speaking, what do we do for this or that? We very much have an interchange and a cultural exchange of information. And like I said, the children are very interested to know. We've shared songs, we've shared how we cook. They want to know, what do we put on this meal or that meal? What do we use for a sauce? How do we eat this? How do we make this?
Mm-hmm.
How do we sew this? We constantly send pictures of things. We send tips and ideas. They ask me questions. They can't search the internet the same way. They don't have the same bandwidth. Mm-hmm. So they ask me questions. I ask them questions. When our grandmother died, Stephen sent me the prayer that I read at her funeral. Like, we're very, very interconnected that way. Mm-hmm. And very much our thoughts are with each other, and our prayers are with each other. So it's not a one-way thing. Like, people all say, well, do you just send them money? Absolutely not. It's not that I'm just a money tap for them. It's not. I get as much or more from them as they've ever got from me. I think I get more from them in what I receive from them as what they've mm-hmm. ever got from me. It's mm-hmm. absolutely inspirational. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And absolutely transformative to my life, what I get from my relationship and contact with them. Mm-hmm. So it's a story I love to share about what I've learned.
And I can hardly wait for it to unfold, because it's such
me
an
too.
inspiration. And I think that our listeners are really going to be interested in the way that you have brought about change and the way that you introduce this amazing family. Do you want to share the GoFundMe site for anybody who might be interested in coming on board here at the start of the podcast season?
Sure. I have, it's Stephen Moyo's Mission for Change on GoFundMe. So we'll share the link below. And the site has changed over time because the needs have changed over time. But now we're using that to help raise money to help rebuild the home brick by brick, as I said. And we'll, like I said, we'll share that link, and we'll work to help build a roof again over their heads. And I really appreciate the opportunity here to share their story and share that link, and to Michelle and Dance Debut and Cape Breton Tea Company. Thank you very much. And you can also just enjoy a cup of tea and help them out.
Exactly.
Which is absolutely a way to share and to spread the joy and share their mission. So I appreciate that chance too.
And you also will be starting a blog as well, and that'll go into the description so people will be able to find it. So
yes. And that will tell the story as well there.
Yeah, so that they'll be able to catch up. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for starting off this season, and I look forward to our conversations. Thank you, Charlene.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Season 3, we're devoting to the transformational process that happens when people reach into their authentic selves and create magic. Our session has several publications this year, and we hope they inspire and empower you to consider living your true heart's desire with love and compassion for others at the forefront. Thank you for joining us. This is Be Well with Michelle Greenwell, wishing you the courage to face your own transformation for the well-being of those who live around you or who maybe live on the other side of the world. Thanks so much.